Kawaii culture is a trend in Japan which encompasses cute and innocence into daily life through products and the way people dress. Kawaii is a term which extends to things such as clothing, writing styles, or even dolls. It began in the 1970s when women began to have extra money to spend. With this new disposable income, women decided to purchase kawaii products which began to spur Japanese fascination with the cute. According to John Tree, the cute signaled availability for women in the 70s because of its childlike features and innocence. On the other hand, kawaii culture also represents a kind of fascism of Japanese society. The government is able to control the masses through kawaii culture. From a marketing perspective, kawaii is used to lure people into purchasing products because they are deemed kawaii or Japanese. In our interviews at Daishokan, we inquired a few cosplayers about their opinions on kawaii culture.
A phenomenon that originated in Japan and has kind of spread to America, spread to the West. It's kind of a return to childhood and kind of a way to embrace kind of some playful aspect of yourself. No, we don't. We've never heard of it. Never heard
Kawaii
of it.
culture? Do you know what kawaii is?
Yes.
Okay, can you give us, like, what do you think about kawaii?
Cute. You know, everything cute.
Okay.
Cute.
You like kawaii?
Yes.
Okay.
Which would be kawaii culture is to me it's a culture of cuteness, a culture of being sweet, being not really necessarily like a kid, but it's kind of like a kid flavor. You dress up really well sometimes. I guess that's what it is.
Kawaii culture is they have this thing in Japan called Kawaii, and it means cute. And so they have this cute culture, and it's like cute dresses and cute costumes and cute smiles and everything about it being cute. I'd say, like when I was in Japan, a lot of girls would do their makeup really, I would say, yeah, like baby doll, like kind of have like a doll, like and also wearing just like not necessarily Lita, but like frilly dresses, like long frilly dresses that are pink or like very bright colors.
Not a lot of skin showing at all. Like they make sure to make their eyes look as large and pop out as possible. Just like give exactly a baby.
It's very pink. It's very poofy. It's very not kawaii. It's hard to pull off kawaii type things in a personally. I love movies. In my normal life, I wear a suit and tie every day. So to be able to wear something like this is pretty cool.
No, I would consider our costumes are more from an anime, so it's not really considered kawaii. Kawaii is more like if I was wearing all like really frilly clothes, similar to gothic idea.
I find anything kawaii or anything cute to be absolutely irresistible. Something you can't really say no to. If it's like a puppy dog, you can't really say no to that. It's just so cute.
Or like a cute little girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Culture can be defined in different ways. I think the way that most people think of the cute is that it's a visual style in anime and manga with large eyes and sort of even a mixture of overt sexuality with very, very infantile qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the women whom we endeavored to show in this documentary movie were very, very childlike, although sexually very well developed. One comes from John Tree, who was writing in the 1990s in a book called Japanese or Contemporary Japanese Pop Culture. And John Tree said essentially that the cute arose in Japan in the 1970s as a choice by women to buy certain things. So all of a sudden in the 1970s, women in Japan had cultural capital, they had money to purchase things. So what they decided to do was to spend that money on little Hello Kitty things and cute things that any children would find very cute. So these were women in their 20s and 30s who suddenly had money that they could spend, whereas 10, 20 years earlier, women, especially after the war, women in their 20s and 30s didn't have any kind of disposable income. So part of the speculation that John Treat makes is that after World War II, because Japan was getting wealthy, that women were expressing their sexual identity and their cultural capital by buying cute things. It was a way of making themselves seem vulnerable and therefore available to men. So cute would be worn as a way within this context for women to signal their single availability. Visually, I think that we can trace cute back to the style of artists in Japan who were influenced, and this goes back to the 1920s, even back to the 1880s. So these were artists in Japan who were influenced by Western-style comic book characters. Thinking about cute is that it's sort of the flip side of fascism. And Japan is, I think, historically has been culturally a very fascistic culture in the sense that it's had an imperial system, so the emperor is the father of the state. And this logic is projected onto the family. So this is the idea of fascism, that you relinquish your power to sort of a benign dictator. And culturally, this is the way that Japan is. So the way that people can signal their availability to be manipulated is through cute. And I think that bringing out someone's maternal or paternal instinct can be a way of manipulating people to like something. So the classic example of this in Japan is rice cookers, right? You can buy a rice cooker for about $100 in Japan, but if you slap a Hello Kitty logo on it, Hello Kitty is a cute symbol, you can sell that same rice cooker for $120 now. Nothing's different between those two rice cookers. They're exactly the same rice cooker. But because there's a Hello Kitty sort of signal that this is a cute rice cooker, then people forget who they are and they, are a little bit more foolish than they normally would be. So I think that the cute, it's wonderful